Mass hysteria is always so much more containable when there's someone or something to point a finger at. Finger pointing is never good. It always leaves someone feeling alone. It'd be nice to have some company in times like these. Times like these. Murder, depression, cover-up. And for some reason, everyone seems to think they're special enough to be next. Well, that's not how it works. See, I've been watching him for a while now. The one who's causing all of this insanity. His work is everywhere. In newspaper articles, on the internet. You'd get the impression that he's someone that likes to leave a trail behind him. That couldn't be further from the truth. He tried to hide it every time. He may have used the same method, blood loss, puncture wounds, but each victim was meticulously chosen for a specific reason. They had no family, no one to care, no one to notice they no longer existed. And all would have been fine for him, except one day he picked the wrong girl. She changed her name a couple of years before he'd gotten to her, for reasons streaked with vanity. Well, it meant that his research was flawed. There was someone to care about her, and there was someone to notice. And that's when people finally realised he'd been doing it for years. I must stress, he's not like us. Because his murders were so heavily linked, I followed the trail, wanting to find out exactly what he was up to. I went to his home. I found the research he kept hidden on his next victim, and I followed him. I watched him carry out the whole dirty sequence of events. She was stabbed. Who knows how many times, and it was from those wounds that the blood was drained. He added the puncture marks later. That's how he did it. Not an extended bang inside. And he made me so fucking angry to make it look like it was one of us. My people aren't already thinking we're shifty enough anyway. Someone hadn't taught him, or rather, he hadn't managed to teach himself that it's not supposed to be like that. If you crave blood, it's not a victim that you want, but a lover. But then, why would I want a shit like him to learn from someone like me? I never killed anyone. I just wanted to taste, and I only took from those who gave it. I guess it just frustrates me that instead of seeing the beauty in the situation, he just saw a fucking legend, one which he figured he'd feel for himself. When you drink, you learn about the world. With every priest, there's a new reason for finding God. With every musician, there's a new melody to be learned. And with every average Joe, there's a new life story I hadn't heard yet. I remember the first time I was sat at the top of the stairs. I must have been about 8 years old. I was listening. I remember with great clarity what they were saying, or rather, screaming. My parents, they were arguing again. Eventually, my father stormed out of the living room. He was headed for the kitchen, but he stopped when he noticed someone watching him. Me. He seemed to fly over the banister and hit the stair with a loud thud before swiftly moving towards me. I should have known not to sit there. He'd shouted at me before for listening in, grabbed me by the throat and threw me against something hard. Why hadn't I learned? I could have listened from my room. I would have heard everything. But for some reason, I was drawn to that top stair. He grabbed the front of my shirt and he growled something at me. I don't know what the fuck it was. I just remember how close his face was to mine. He was sweating, but not from hard labour. He was sweating that cold, nervous kind of sweat you get when your body is pumped full of adrenaline. It felt like forever, but it only took a second for him to throw me down the stairs. Like I say, it wasn't the first time he'd thrown me, but it was the first time I'd drawn blood. I hit the glass table at the bottom of the stairs. Shards of glass flew everywhere, but it took a few moments for me to realise that the sharp, stabbing pain in my left forearm meant that one of them had lodged itself there. I watched as the dark red liquid skidded down towards my wrist, mesmerised. Then suddenly feeling disembodied, I watched myself lean down to taste my own warm nectar. In the split second before, the thought of it had thrilled me, but now that my childish tongue was so ardently lapping at the source, the experience was even more exciting than I had expected. I waited for something similar to happen again, but it never came. But every time I scraped my knee on the pavement, I saw an opportunity to taste that heady liquor once again, but it was never the same. There was never enough blood. Never enough to satisfy me. It was during the school holidays when I found my mother's razor blades in the bathroom cabinet. I was 14. Both of my parents were at work and I was left alone in the house, trusted to entertain myself safely. I took the blades into the garden. We had an orchard there. I figured blood stains on the carpet would give away some sort of mischief, and so I escaped into the woodland scenery, hiding myself amongst the dead leaves. I stared at my pale wrist, the blue veins pumping their viscous flow. I was alive beneath the surface. I wanted it. I scored a long, straight line across my skin. There was no violence in it. I felt no pain, just the hazy hypnosis as the blood drew me towards it. I felt alive. From that moment I was enthralled by the act. Every time I sliced open my own vein, I thought of a deeper-rooted secret than that my soul kept hidden. Every time I cut through my skin, I thought of a new little venture I should try. Once I had this sudden urge to go and explore the rock pools and cliffs near where I used to live. I simply ran out of the house barefoot and flew along the rocky path down to the cliff. My last conscious memory of it was dipping my toe into the freezing water before diving into the rapids. Something inside me knew that I would like it. The head rush was incomparable, and although a neighbour found me by the riverside 10 minutes later, blue and barely breathing with my waking dad, I knew that it had all been worth it. But I can't to this day explain why. It was a craving, a naughty, I shouldn't be doing this craving. Not the thrill seeking, that was something else, but the blood. By the time I hit puberty, the sensation it gave me had become so heady in nature, I was convinced it was sexual, that my hormones had something to do with it. Then I realised it was the same thing. I became nocturnal, a creature of the night, you could say. And I wanted to share it with someone. At 18 years of age, I discovered a club downtown. drapes that did hang from the ceilings were softer hues and brighter material than those that I'd imagined. Huge cushions lining the floor, and over them draped my tears. My tears. That was the first time I ever felt justified in speaking those words. My tears. I wandered over to a cushion of my own, intending to watch and figure out the protocol, but I had hardly gotten myself settled before a rather slight young woman laid her hands across my thigh, using her grip there as some sort of leverage to pull her face level with mine. Her name was Alina, or at least that's the name she gave me. Not that it mattered. I was more concerned with the open wound on her neck. And by concerned, I don't mean worried. I mean involved. Cautiously, I reached out, longing to touch it. And as my fingers grazed her sticky skin, she slowly let her hand curl around the back of my neck, pulling my lips towards the inviting fountain of red that gently gushed over her collarbone. I became a regular, not just to the club, but to her. Every other night we would finish our display of feline animal grace and performance, a ritual. At first I would bring blades, and we would cut into each other in the dim light and press our mouths against the loving lesions. But before long, the need became insatiable, and the blades no longer seemed necessary. We would bite each other, fierce and passionate, until we drew blood, our necks, our arms, our stomachs. It was at that point that one was no longer enough. And convenient that we both thought the same. I experimented, got to know other people. After a while, I could taste the subtle difference in their blood, what made them unique. I heard their stories from their inside, saw through their insecurities, uncovered their weaknesses, their failure to achieve goals, their search for love and affection. There was one particular encounter with a boy of about 17 that always stands out in my mind. I'd never drank from him before, nor him from me, but he became so emotionally overwhelmed in our exchange that when I eventually focused on his face instead of his neck, I realized that he was crying. My concern, and this time I do mean worry, prompted a lengthy conversation about his reasons for coming to the club. At the top of the list was the recent termination of what I can only describe as a destructive relationship. His ex-girlfriend had spent the 2 years of their relationship arguing with him. She criticized him, undermined his self-worth, and things just to get her point across. It wasn't just your average kind of argument that she was into. She was always looking for a fight, one with elbows and fists, bruises and scars. Emotionally, she destroyed him. She made him leave his friends, left him numb. And he'd ended it all and run straight to that club just to be able to feel alive again. And as he told me this, I had yet another realization. Blood is life. I began poring through all the old books just to try and get a sense of what it was I had so conveniently stumbled upon. Everywhere I looked was that bloody, obvious word, vampire. At first, all I could find was information and folklore on how a vampire was believed to have been created. A member of the deceased being buried incorrectly, being bitten by another vampire, or dying a violent death. I, of course, had been bitten by something else. First. found more modern books referring to the so-called real vampire. And on the internet, I found references to the sanguinarians, humans who feel the need to drink the blood of others for fear of feeling ill without it. But that wasn't me. I didn't feel ill without it. I just felt a thirst, a craving that wanted to be satisfied. But I was getting closer. Auto-vampirism, the drinking of one's own blood. I had done that before, but not anymore. Renfield syndrome, a psychological explanation that seemed to fit my bill. But that bill called me crazy, and another look at the book saw how blood-drinking dogs could be construed as werewolves, and modern science was actually looking into the possibility of the existence of vampires. So, was I insane? Deluded? Or had contemporary modern society just not caught up with my desires yet? I didn't know. In fact, I didn't know how to think straight anymore. So I sat down. I pulled out a pen, and instead of reading the words I found in books, I wrote the words I found inside of me. I tried to pinpoint a moment in time when the feelings had become more frequent, when I had slipped over the edge and let blood consume me. All I could think of was a dream I'd had since around the age of 13, a recurring dream, one far too sophisticated for me to understand at that age, but as I grew older, the dream grew more complex and the sequence of events multiplied. And as I began to write it down in the most poetic way I could muster, a message from somewhere seemed to reach me.
He met her in the only coffee house he trusted. With bohemian ringed fingers, she read Oscar Wilde. A soya latte macchiato beside the museum postcard she used for a bookmark. Selenius. A strange name, but intriguing nonetheless. Macchiato, an actor, used his wily charm to seduce her, or so he thought, but Daddy didn't approve. She went to her desk, a lousy creature beside her, unwilling to live where her love was prohibited. She rose again and searched for him. She found him at his window, and he hoisted her into his bedroom. Flesh on flesh, they found themselves entwined and sweating upon the hardwood floor. When the next moon rose, she returned again, relieving yesterday's sleep. But through her kiss, he felt her teeth and watched her bite his tongue. With a sickle pain fingernails, she sliced the skin from his glistening chest, and then down to taste the blood that escaped from the flesh, then doubled over with pleasure and overcome the blood. She sucked the potent liquid from him, tasting every taste and every texture of his desire. After her exertion, his body lay limp beside her. Impatiently she bore him through the woods and took him to his grave. Awakening, he crawled at the wall of her muddy tomb, tried to escape, but failed and fought no longer, as she replaced the soil atop them. For a second all was silent, until like a thunderbolt his hand shot through the grey roof, fingers gnarled. Following carefully, hers appeared soon after, and entwined her wrist with his. As they disappeared into the earth, his demon mind realized that he was pursued, not her.
The blood had seduced me. If you crave blood, it's not a victim that you want, but a lover. what happens when your lover has so much power over you. I had to find out where that power had come from and how it had taken over me. I went back to the books trying to find a real explanation for why I was like this. I mean, I hadn't been unhappy about my life before that moment, but now that I knew that I was different because something had power over me, I didn't like that. I found the answer on the internet. It came from a largely untrusted online encyclopedia, but it seemed to make perfect sense. Bipolar. Real vampirism had been associated with being bipolar. You see, manic depressives have both hyperactive and depressive episodes. That rush of energy and arousal I felt whilst drinking blood seemed to fit in with the idea of a manic episode. And the depression was similar to the withdrawal I felt when not drinking blood. It all seemed to add up, but where did it come from? I just couldn't figure it out. Then I saw it. There, at the bottom of the page in huge letters. Traumatic and abusive experiences in childhood. Bingo. He had done this to me. He had power over me, and now I had to find him. It was simple, really. I looked him up in the phone book, and there he was. Ran my fingernail down the page in search of his surname, and it seemed to appear from under the black enamel. It seemed far too